All right, so we can praise, esteem, and honor the Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. And we're going to pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem and praise to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's come over here to Psalms 45 and 1. Well, matter of fact, before you do that, go ahead, Sylvia. Give him Proverbs 17 and 9.
He that cover transgression seek love, but he that repeat a matter separate friends.
Go ahead and give him Proverbs 10 and 12.
Hatred stir up strife, but love cover all sins.
Go on, give him verse 15.
The rich man's wealth, his strong city, the destruction of the poor is their poverty.
Now we come over here to Psalms 45 and 1.
And my heart is indicting a good matter. I speak of the things which I have made.
Nobody told you to do that. Look at this nigga. You told him to do that? You been talking to him? Now go ahead. He started.
Say my heart is indicting a good matter. I speak of the things which I made.
I thought you might have paid him off.
My tongue is the pen of a ready writer. You are fairer than the children of men. Grace is poured into your lips. Therefore, Elohim and Baruch you forever.
Shalom, brother. Mo. That's good. So, with that being said, I got to try to find this other video. I probably want it because it wouldn't let me put it in that live chat. So, we ended with examples of grace. But I'm gonna shift gear with something, man, because I heard these dudes talking about a dude committed the sin of presumptuousness. Y'all ever heard that before? That was amazing to me. He said he committed a presumptuous sin. Y'all know what presumptuous mean by definition? Go ahead and look it up. Shalom, Brother Robert. I ain't being funny. Dude really accused a man of committing the sin of presumptuousness. And I seen a dude doing a video trying to break it down, and it was trash.
That's failing to observe the limits of what is permitted or appropriate.
Now, I ain't gonna say it was trash. I ain't gonna say that. What it was is he was trying to explain it through the lens of looking at it in English. You know what I'm talking about? Now, the dude who was making the accusation was trash. Everything he had going on with that was trash. It was absolutely terrible. So we're going to go to what he was using to justify himself so you can see what this means. Because maybe you'll encounter this somewhere. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? This is verse 22 of Numbers 15. Now, I'm going to give you a brief rundown because I don't think... Shalom, Mr. Hutch. Hey, Mr. Hutch, I'm going to put it in the comment that you made because I tried to put it in the live chat and it wouldn't let me. So it's going to come from my personal YouTube channel and not this YouTube channel. I'm about to do that right now. I want you to hear what's contained in Numbers 15. Y'all know what's in Numbers 15 in general. Shalom, Steph. Y'all know what's in Numbers 15 in general, don't you? Shalom, Emma Sharon. Y'all know what's in that in general? Y'all don't know about it. Everybody go there. That's where the fringes is at. I just put the comment on there with the yes, sir. I just put it on there, bro. So Numbers 15, you have offerings that are required. And I'm gonna read Numbers 15 and 1 before he get to his selection. Shalom, Lord Marshall. Say, Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the sons of Yasharal, and say unto them, when you have come into the land of your inhabitants, which I give unto you, And I will make an offering by fire unto Yahuwah, a burnt offering, or a sacrifice in performing a vow, or in a free will offering, or in your solemn feast, to make a sweet savor unto Yahuwah, Shalom, of the herd or of the flock. Then shall he that offer his offering unto Yahuwah bring a meat offering of a tenth of a deal, of flour mingled with a fourth part of hin of oil. Now, I just wanted you to see this, that this is dealing with offerings, whether it's free will offering, sacrifice and performing a vow, and we might want to get at that because vow is what? The word is escaping me right now. Go and give him that word for that, man. It's in verse 3. Well, it's a free will offering, but the Hebrew word is escaping my mind at this time. Sacrifice is a bach. This is something that you're slaughtering, something that you're killing.
Free will? That's not a bomb.
Yeah, I had the wrong word in my brain all the way around the board. So, of course, that's a votive offering, a free will offering. Now, what is a vow? Well, this is a promise that you making to your maker. Now, since we're talking about grace being poured into your lips, let's go over here to John 10 and 15 on the strength. And then we'll sit back and see a votive / free will offering being testified. Because I just heard a gentleman in the room that was playing in my pocket before because I was listening, but I wasn't listening. Well, I was listening when I was in the car. I wasn't listening once I got out of the car. But right before I got out of the car, he made an instance of it was never a problem with the law. It was with the people. Therefore, Jesus wasn't needed. You know what I'm saying? And see, a lot of people make this statement that Yahushua wasn't needed because they think that the problem and the affliction of man, or where he needed grace, started with the breaking of the covenant on Mount Sinai, neglecting the complete and utter fact that man needed grace because of what happened in the garden. You know what I'm saying? That and I say that for lack of a better term, that's Israelite theology. I know some people will come around here like, well, y'all Israelite, yeah. But if you think that we're going to come with the standard Israelite conversation, doctrines, teachings, leanings, proclamations, and exhortations, we will not. You can esteem and glory in your flesh. I'd rather esteem and glory in Yahuwah. That's your business. You have to deal with the Lord with that. I'm not dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, and I don't have to, and I won't. You know what I'm saying? I don't go alone to get along. You can do that. That's what you like to do. You don't strike me as the type to do that. So my assessment was correct. Yeah, going along to get along is how you end up in the chain gang. That's how you end up in the grave. That's how you end up with a life full of disappointment because you just go along with stuff for the sake of going along with it. You know what I'm talking about? And hey, that is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that came from other arguments. And you know where these arguments come from? People who don't know what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we were talking about earlier. Say, can women contend for the faith? I say a lot of you niggas don't need to contend for nothing because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's man or woman. Don't make me no different. A lot of niggas need to be quiet. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to know what you're fighting for. See, let me show you what we're talking about. Get that Jude 1 and 3. Because this is an example of this here, man. I'm not saying this to disparage nobody. I'm saying this, if you got two people, y'all ever seen two people fight who can't fight? I'm talking about, but they're fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? That's probably one of the most ridiculous things that you would ever want to see. Have you ever seen two intellectually stunted individuals try to have an intellectual sparring match? You know what usually happens when you have two people who are intellectually inferior? I'm not talking about inferior like to each other. I'm talking about just inferior in general. You hear a bunch of insults. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with two people or one of two people who don't really know what they're talking about because they can't actually have a civil and intellectual conversation or spiritual conversation based on the matter at hand, the only thing they can resort to is insulting one another. Because neither party or only one party don't know what they're talking about. And that's what happens. You know what I'm saying? The spiritual and intellectual superior individual, you know what they do once they identify that the person they're talking to don't know what they're talking about? They cease and desist from the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Or they seek to aim to I'm just going to focus on trying to instruct or teach the people who are listening and just totally just disregard this person because I've already identified that I'm better off talking to this wall. Go ahead, sir.
So, beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to
A
write
common
unto
what?
you. Common salvation.
Tell them what common is, man. You talking about the rapper?
That's koinos, common, ordinary, belonging to generality.
What that mean? Give me numbers 15 to 31. You look like you used to listen to Common. And Erica Badu. You used to walk around dressing like him too, didn't you? Yeah, you used to wear them shorts, nigga. Man, ain't nobody listen to that nigga. I ain't saying he couldn't do that. I say ain't nobody listen to that nigga. Baby. I know in his heyday, nobody around here was talking about throw that Common on. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't say nothing about a nigga couldn't rap. I ain't never pull up on a nigga and he was bumping it on his own time. You know what I'm talking about? Had it in his headphones. Nothing. You know what I'm talking about? That nigga say that's gospel music on a Saturday. That nigga say, yeah, that nigga listening to Silk the Shocker. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. I used to date a girl who listened to Silk the Shocker. That was her favorite rapper. I say I'm reassessing my decisions in life. You know what I'm talking about? Shalom, East, man. Oh, nah, man. Nah. We all good, my G. This light work. Come on with it. Numbers 15 and 31, I believe.
Because you have despised the word of Yahuwah and have
that ain't it. Ain't it. I got you in the wrong thing. I'm sorry. It's 15 and 15. I'm sorry, y'all. Numbers 15 and 15.
One ordinance for you of the congregation and also for the stranger that sojourn, an ordinance forever in your generations. As you, so shall the stranger be before Yahuwah.
As you, so shall the who be?
The stranger be.
My God, today.
Before Yahuwah. One law and one manner shall be for you and for the stranger that sojourns.
That sounds like common salvation to me. I don't know. I could be mistaken. Come on back to Jude. Read it from the top. Jude 1 and 1. I got some stuff in Jeremiah 31 too, because somebody I know shared this verse and they always use it out of context, and that's unfortunate. But really, the beginning of the chapter is more important than the back end. Look at Krishan. He told me, I can't lie. That new album with him and Pete Rock is fire. Who knew he even had one? You in the music business. Shoot, he wasn't active when he wasn't retired. Well, I'm not plugged into too much of nothing, but I can tell you this here. When that nigga had the Mitch in you, hey, you can take that in. That's your fine thinking booty hole. I'm thinking about vagina. You plug it in the booty, boy. That's where your mind went. You can plug it into two different holes now. That boy thinking about booty. My God, today. Listen, when he came out with that song, dissing Ice Cube, man, wasn't nobody playing that. And that diss record was scathing. You don't even know about that diss record, do you? You don't know what I'm talking about. It was a scathing retort. You know what I'm saying? Laced with all manner of vitriol and disrespect. Man, ain't nobody play that song, nigga. You don't hear nobody talking about that damn song. Only song nigga talking about is the light. And the only thing you know is the hook. There's a time. That's all you know. That's the only part you know. You talking about you want somebody by your side. You look around with nobody there. Come on, man. You 1 and 1.
Say Jude, the servant of Yahushua HaMashiach and brother of James, to them that are sanctified by Elohim Na'ava and preserved in Yahushua HaMashiach.
Shalom, brother Ernest. Come on.
Mercy unto you and shalom and love and be multiplied. Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation,
it was needful
for me to write unto you and exhort that you should earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered unto the saints.
Pause. What you think this mean of earnestly contending for the faith? And I had mentioned this early in this conversation. What do you think this means? Because a lot of people think contending for the faith is what everybody's doing now. But that's not what they were doing then. You have to know the difference of what they were doing then versus what we're doing now. Because what we're doing now is not contended for the faith in no shape, form, or fashion. Let me give you some insight. Come over here to the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 19. This still showing you how grace was poured in his lips, because these were the things that they were contending for. I want you to come over here to Acts chapter 19. I want you to go over here to verse 8 and pay attention to what and why they were contending. This is not what we're doing in 2024. Let's let that be known. Acts 19 and 8.
And he went into the synagogue and spake boldly for the space of 3 months.
Spake how long?
3 months.
And he was doing what?
Disputing and persuading the things concerning the Malkuth of Elohim.
Pause. So the first thing that you need to see that what they were contending about was the things pertaining to the kingdom of God. You know what I'm talking about? It is the things that we were debating about ain't got nothing to do with the dominion of God. Tell them what disputing mean in this Greek, man. Now, I'm not saying this to be disrespectful. I'm saying this to give context, because some of y'all might have seen that room, some of you may have not. But it's to give context more specifically on what does it mean to contend for the faith. That's what I'm concerned with. I don't give a damn. I told him this earlier. If you believe a woman can contend for the faith, baby, do it. Ain't nobody can tell you what you can't do. You can do whatever you want to do. Now, the question would be, who will justify that with you? Or are you looking for men to agree with it? Because I can tell you, son, you can get 100 people in a room. Everybody's not going to agree with the teaching. Are you looking for everybody to agree with it? Or are you just trying to get that done? Because if you believe you justified by God, what difference does it make? You know what I'm talking about? If 40 niggas don't agree with it. And that's my question that I ask a lot of people now. Are you asking these questions because you want the group to go along with it? Or do you believe God is going to justify you? Because if you believe God going to justify you, who gives a damn what the group think? Come on, Sid. Emma already dropped it in the chat.
It's dialogomai, that is to think different things with oneself, to mingle thought with thought, to ponder, to revolve in mind, to converse, to discourse with one, argue, to discuss.
And she also has on here the short that to discuss, but also to preach. So if he's preaching, guess what? That's going to take us back to what we were talking about the other day, because the preacher was wise. That means this is a core left. This is an arranger of sentences. So you have to sit back and you have to look at who has the ability to do that. And she also has middle voice from Dia and Lego to say thoroughly, i.e. to discuss an argument or exhortation, dispute, preach unto, reason with, or to speak. So then I had mentioned, now you got to, what are they reasoning to, preaching, and speaking about? The kingdom of God. So let's continue and let's see what Paul did. This is verse 9.
But when divers were hardened and believed not, but spake evil of that way before the multitude.
Pause. He says, speak evil of what?
Of that way.
So now they're disputing a particular manner of life. Let's continue.
He departed from them and separated the disciples, disputing daily in the school of one Tyrannus. And this continued by the space of 2 years, so that all they which dwell in Asia heard the word of the Lord. Pause.
So this is what they were. This is what he was disputing with them about, was the word of the Lord Yahusha. Now, why would that be important? Let's look at another witness, and let's go to Acts chapter 28. I'll tell you what verse I want in just a moment. Acts 28 and 17 is sufficient. Acts 28 and 17. Listen to it.
And it came to pass that after 3 days, Paul called the chief of the Yahudim together. And when they were come together, he said unto them, Men, brethren, though I have committed nothing against the people.
And I appreciate your recording also.
Or customs of our fathers, yet was I delivered prisoner from Jerusalem into the hands of the Romans, who when they had examined me would have let go, because there was no cause of death in me.
But when the Jews
spake against, I was constrained to appeal unto Caesar, not that I had aught to accuse my nation of. For this cause, therefore, have I called for you to see and to speak with, because that for the hope of Yasharal I am bound with this chain.
And when they said unto him,
we neither received letters out of Judea concerning you, neither any of the brethren that come showed or spake any harm of you.
But we desire of you
to hear of you what you think, for us concerning this sect.
Pause. As concerning this what?
This sect.
So again, he's about to contend for the faith right now. Contending for the faith is not contending for doctrines. It's not contending for your ability to argue. You're contending for something specific and direct as it pertains to the testimony of the Son of God. What a lot of people neglect to pay attention to of what Jude is talking about. This is, you know who Jude is, right? You know who he is? That's his brother. So this is one of the individuals who were part of the early assembly. What a lot of Israelites and Christians, what's good, though, people seem to neglect is that when Mashiach ascended into heaven, these men had a testimony of the Son of God. This was something that was not readily espoused in the earth, and they faced backlash because of it. Now we'll go look at Acts chapter 5 in a moment, where you can see, Shalom 10K, where you can see the backlash that they received. Because remember what it said in Acts 5? He said, did we not straightly command you that you should not do what? Teach in this man's name. You know what I'm saying? So when they were contending for the faith, they were contending against those who did not believe in the Son of God. And they were contending with the testimony. They were not doing what we're doing right now. So if you're not really talking about the Lord, you're not contending for the faith, you're just seeking to argue. And that's your business. I'm just trying to make sure that you understand what that actually means. You know what I'm talking about? Come on with it, man. Verse 3. Listen what he did, man.
He's saying, when they had appointed him a day, there came many to him and to his lodging, for whom he expounded and testified the Malchut of Elohim, persuading them concerning Yahushua.
Both out of where?
Out of the law of Moses.
And the what?
And the prophets.
For how long?
From morning till evening.
And some believe those things.
Which were spoken.
And some believe
not.
Oh my God. And when they agreed not,
among themselves,
they left.
After that, Paul spoke in one word. Well spake the Ruach HaKadosh by Isaiah the prophet unto our fathers. See, now this is the passage I was talking about the other night. This is the Isaiah 6 that's talking about the people. Go ahead. Saying, go unto this people and say, hearing you shall hear and shall not understand. And seeing you shall see and not perceive. For make the heart of this people, their ears are dull, hearing, and their eyes, closed, lest they should see with eyes, and hear with ears, and understand, with heart, and should be converted. And I should heal them. Come on, man. That's what he contended about. He's not contending about no binaryism and Unitarianism and can women do this or can men do this or can you do that? Them people already know what they could and couldn't do. Now, whatever you chose to do is whatever you chose to do. I'm talking about the apostles. I'm not talking about the people as a whole. The apostles were not arguing about the things that we argue about. They weren't doing that. That's not what they were fighting for. You know what I'm talking about? Let's take a look. Acts 5, man. Give me 25. Listen what it says. Now remember, right? This is right after Peter get locked up. Now remember, what did Peter get locked up for? Let's take a look. Back it up to what? 17? Let me back it all the way up where he get locked up at. Yeah, 17 is fine. Acts 5 and 17. And then the high priest rose up, and all that were with him, which is the sect of the Sadducees, and were filled with indignation.
Now remember, Peter got locked up for healing people. Listen.
And laid their hands on the apostles and put them in a common prison. But the Malachim of the Lord by night opened the prison doors and brought them forth and said, go. Stand and speak in the temple to the people all the words of this life.
All the words of this what?
Of this life.
Come on, man. He said, go speak the word of life to them. Listen.
And when they heard, they entered into the temple early in the morning and taught. But the high priest came, and they that were with him, and called the council together. In the Senate of the children of Yasharal, and sent to the prison to have them brought. But when the officers came and found them not in the prison, they returned and told. Straight saying, this, the prison truly found we shut with all safety. Keeping standing. Without before the doors. But when we had opened, we found no man within. Now when the high priest and the captain of the temple and the chief priest heard these things, they doubted of them whereunto this was brought. Then came one and told them, behold, the men who you put in the prison. Listen, they put all the apostles in prison too, by the way. They locked them all up. Listen. Are standing in the temple and teaching the people. Then went the captain with the officers and brought them without violence, for they feared the people, lest they should have been stoned. And when they had brought They set them before the council, and the high priest asked them, saying,
Did we not straightly
command you that you should not teach in this name?
in what name?
In this name.
Now that's how you know that their doctrine was different than the doctrine of the time. So guess what that's going to bring? Some contention. So they would have to strive or contend for the faith. Matter of fact, Paul, no, just finish. We'll go over it in a second.
And behold, you have filled Jerusalem with your doctrine and intend to bring this man's blood upon
you fill what with your what?
Fill Jerusalem with your doctrine.
My God, today. Listen.
And intend to bring this man's blood upon us. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey Elohim rather than men.
We ought to do what?
Obey Elohim rather than men.
For the Elohim of our fathers.
Raised up Yahusha, whom you slew and hanged on a tree.
Him of Elohim.
Exalted with his right hand, a prince and a savior, for to give repentance to Yasharal.
And we are his what?
We are his witnesses.
We his what?
His witnesses.
His what?
His witnesses.
That's why they contending. They his witnesses. Listen.
And also the Ruach HaKadosh, whom Elohim has given to them that obey him.
Listen, this is a different thing. We don't pay attention to that because we're not really operating like those men in that particular time operated. Give me John 6:24. And after that, we can go back to Jude.
When the people therefore saw that Yahusha was not there, neither his disciples, they also took shipping and came to Capernaum seeking for Yahusha. When they had found him on the other side of the sea, they said unto him, Rabbi, when came you here? Yahusha answered them and said, truly, truly, I say unto you, you seek me, not because you saw the miracles, but because you did eat of the loaves and were filled. Labor not for the meat which perish,
but labor
for that meat which endure in everlasting life.
What up?
Which the Son of Man shall give unto you. For him have Elohim the Abba sealed.
What up?
Then said they unto him, what shall we do that we might work the works of Elohim?
What up?
Yahusha answered and said unto them, this is the work of Elohim, that you believe on him whom he hath sent.
That's the work of God right there. And that's what they were contending with. It's a whole different type of deal than what's going on. Ain't nobody contending for that. If it is, it's Messianic versus non-Messianic, just to have the same circular conversations about the same verses every day. See, the apostles understood that everybody wasn't going to receive that information when they stepped into the synagogues or in the temple or in the cities or in the streets and espoused this information. But every now and then they was like, because that's what some Israelites say, you know, they did debate, but they weren't debating what you would debate. They weren't debating no virgin birth. You know what I'm talking about? They weren't debating that. Debate that for what? These people didn't even believe on this man, and you think they debating that? Jude 1:3, man.
Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort that you should earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered unto the saints.
See, didn't we just read that the other day in Ephesians, man? He said that you should earnestly contend for the salvation that was once delivered to who?
To the saints.
Give them 2 Thessalonians 3. Is it 3? Yeah, I think it's 3. No, it's 2. 2 Thessalonians 2:13.
But we are bound to give thanks always to Elohim for you, brethren beloved of the Lord, because Elohim hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the Ruach
and belief in the what?
Of the truth.
So this is the thing that's delivered to the saints. But let's take it a step further in that Proverbs 8 that we read the other day. Swing to Proverbs 8:5. And let's take it a step further. You can make it 1 because that's how I feel.
Do not wisdom cry and understanding put forth her voice? She stand in the top of the high places by the way in the places of the paths. She cried at the gates at the entry of the city.
Remember, you replace wisdom with Yahusha. And you know how we could do that, just for those who don't know? 1 Corinthians 1:30.
But of him are you in Hamashiach Yahusha, who of Elohim is made unto us wisdom.
He's made unto you what?
Wisdom.
My God. Go ahead.
And righteousness and sanctification and redemption. That according as it is written, he that esteem, let him esteem in the Lord.
Let him esteem in who?
In the Lord.
Don't you take us back to Daniel chapter 9? Jeremiah 9. Let's read it anyway. Jeremiah 9:23. I don't need no excuse.
Thus saith Yahuwah, let not the wise esteem in his wisdom, neither let the mighty esteem in his might.
Let him esteem in what?
Let not the rich esteem in his riches.
What they need to esteem in?
Let him that esteem in this.
Shalom,
understand and know me, that I, Yahuwah, which exercise loving kindness,
righteousness,
judgment, righteousness in the earth.
These are the things.
And our delight, saith Yahuwah.
That takes us back to what's in Exodus 34. This is who Yahuwah is. These are the things that he take pleasure in. This is how grace is poured into this man's lips. See, a lot of us don't realize is that when they were contending with the faith, they were contending because they wanted to bring forth the acceptance and favor of God to those who were undeserving of it, which is everybody. You know what I'm talking about? But we don't be picking up on that. Where you was at before that, good sir?
Proverbs.
Yeah, come on. Proverbs 8:1. So when you hear wisdom in this instance, man, all you gotta do is just substitute the anointed one, and maybe you can envision what you see in the Gospels with him doing right here. Listen what he say.
It's not wisdom cry and understanding put forth her voice. She's standing in the top of high places by the way.
The Sermon of the Mount? That's a high place, ain't it? Okay.
She cried at the gates at the entry of the city.
Wasn't he crying out in the cities, in the temple, in the synagogue, everywhere? What was he saying to him?
Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice to the sons of men.
He said, I'm speaking to the sons of Adam. Repent, and for the gospel is at hand. What else he say?
Oh, you simple, understand wisdom.
How you dummies, will you understand some skill?
And you fools, be you of an understanding heart.
When are you foolish people going to be of an understanding heart?
Here, for I will speak of excellent things.
He said, I must tell him what excellent mean, man. Don't you know if you got grace? That's why he said he fairer than the sons of Adam, because grace poured into his lips. Man, when you speaking of grace, you speaking of excellent things.
That's not indeed a leader, ruler, captain, a prince.
He's speaking of princely things. Pause. Ecclesiastes 8:5. He's speaking of things that pertain. Didn't we just read that? I speak as pertaining to the king. My tongue is the pen as a ready writer. So he's speaking to the things that pertain to dominion. That's a leader. That's a ruler. So he's speaking of God. That's how grace is poured into his lips. And he is the leader and ruler that God has sanctified. You know what I'm talking about? A lot of stuff ain't hard if you just sit back and just look at what the text telling you instead of just dealing with what it is that you want to espouse. Like I say now, the word has become a blood sport. You know, you got debate leagues for pay. You know what I'm saying? Dudes challenging. I seen a dude say, any Christian prove Jesus is God, I give you $100. I said, keep your $100 and just know you're going to hell once I give you this ticket. Because number one, this is what you want to do. You so arrogant in your stance that you think offering some money, because that junk ain't hard to tell you, well, you finna go to hell, cuz. You finna go to hell, cuz. And I ain't saying that because I want you to go. I'm talking about your mind. Do you know how bad you got to have a mind to say, I bet you $100 you can't prove it by the word? How that type of thought even enter into your brain? And who gave you that thought? Amos 4:13 tell you who gave you that thought. You know what I'm talking about? And you shouldn't be happy that he gave you that thought. We done turned this man's word into a blood sport. We talk about the church and say it's a fashion show and a way to exploit people for money. And we done turned this man's word into a blood sport for entertainment purposes. That's not what this was made for. This is not what any of this is for. Come on, man.
Whoso keep the commandment shall feel no evil thing. A wise man's heart discern both time and judgment.
Yep.
Because to every purpose there's time and judgment. Therefore the misery of man great upon him. For he know not that which shall be, for who can tell him what it
Give
shall
me verse 3. That don't sound like nothing I want to hear.
Be not hasty to go out of his sight. Stand not in an evil thing, for he do whatsoever please him. Where the word of a king.
Where the word of the king is, there's what?
There's power.
Where the word of the king is, there's what?
Power.
My God, today.
And who may say unto him, what do you?
Now, if he say wisdom speak of excellent things, and wisdom is speaking of, again, the Nagid, the leader, the ruler, the prince, the commander. And he say, well, the word of the Malik, there's power. I mean, he telling you about the king. And who was the king? Psalm 24, last verse, or second to last verse. We tell you who the king is.
Lift up your heads, O
Peace, brother Omar.
Even lift up, you everlasting doors.
You ain't tell these people no verse. He
24:9.
24:9. That boy rude to y'all today. He ain't get his coffee. Don't hold it against his heart. He ain't drinking coffee this month. Go ahead.
Lift up your heads, O you gates. Even lift up, you everlasting doors. And the king of esteem shall come in.
Who is the king of esteem?
Yahuwah of hosts.
Who?
Yahuwah of hosts.
My Lord.
He is the king of esteem.
Now come on, say la. Now, when they put the superscription up over the man's head, what he said? What it said? The king of the Yahudim, right? And then when he resurrected from the dead in Matthew 28, what he told the men? Y'all remember what he told them? All hail, that's words king say. So who is the king? Yahuwah of hosts is the king. He's speaking of the king. See, when he's speaking of himself, he's speaking of his father. Not that he is his father, because he said, if you seen me, you seen my father also. What you gonna get from me, you gonna get from my daddy. I know a lot of niggas don't understand that because you ain't had your daddy. You know what I'm saying? Your mama was a concubine, or your daddy was a bum, or they just couldn't work it out. Whatever reason it was. You know what I'm talking about? See, most dudes, you only look like your daddy. You don't act like your daddy. You don't think like your daddy. You don't move like your daddy. So it doesn't make sense when somebody, boy, when I see you, I see your daddy. But they don't say that because they talking about how you look. They talking about how you behave. Hopefully in a positive way. Because some people say they see somebody and they see your daddy and it's in a negative way. So we hoping this is in the positive way. Because that's all he means. You know what he said in John 5? Everything the Son do, everything the Father do, the Son do likewise, because the Father has taught me all things. And the Father has given me this inheritance. It was his desire for me to have it. But when it's time for the Father to claim what's his, according to 1 Corinthians 15, then the Son is going to give that back to him because he know my daddy gave me this. Now he say, son, it's time. I'm finna come through. Bet. Here you go, Pop. It ain't that hard. Most of y'all can't understand that because you're rebellious. And Emma put that in the chat right there, man. He said he declared to a man what his thought gonna be. And thought, of course, you know, is plots, plans, and devices. Let me tell you something, man. One of the most dangerous places to be, boy, if God give you the wrong mind. Well, we said what? Well, what, we ain't got free will? Yeah, you got free will, but he'll give you the mind according to your free will. That's what you want? Here you go. Keep it. Rock out with it. Have fun with it. Yeah, have fun with it. I think it's only right. Most people don't know he operate like that. Like if you want to be a whoremonger, he gonna give you a mind for you to be a whoremonger. Put all the plots and plans to sleep with all the women you want, boy, because I'm finna kill you and send you to hell later. Since that's what you own, that's what you like, ain't it? Well, I'm gonna give you what you like. How you gonna be mad at God because he gave you what you like? You want to be a look here, man. You don't think he done turned these people's mind inside out and convince themselves they want to be a woman when they're a man and to be a man when they're a woman? Well, that's the Lord let them have that type of mind. Once he seen they was intent on doing that, shoot, flip you over like a flapjack, baby. Stay like that. Now there be some of them he come back later and show them some grace and let them come out of that mindset. But a lot of them, man, that's what you want to do. Go ahead. I don't like it. Look here, and that boy been fighting, but boy, that boy that's still sweet as hood Kool-Aid, boy. He be fighting though. He can't help it. Man, that boy be everywhere, man. I'm talking about you can catch him in somebody real all the time, boy. Boy, I'm talking about people punched him in his butt too many times, man. Ain't no coming back for him. He trying though. I give him credit. He trying to fight it. Yeah, he trying to fight it. He can't do nothing about it. It's in him. No. It ain't. Yeah, it's the mindset. See, this is the key thing, right? It's never about the behavior itself. It's the mindset behind the behavior. See, me and Mama Seven talking about this the other day. There's no everybody sin. I say, boy, how you got sins you do ignorantly. What about sins you didn't know about? And you notice when we ask these dudes the question about how do you accidentally commit adultery? How do you accidentally commit idolatry? How do you accidentally, I can take that back. You can accidentally murder. You know what I'm saying? But that would be coming with you being negligent 9 times out of 10 or irresponsible. You know what I'm talking about? But how do you accidentally be a fornicator? How are you accidentally whoremongering? How are you accidentally malicious? How are you accidentally spiteful? How are you accidentally contentious?
I remember his mom came and she had like the evil eye, like the evil eye stuff on, and like she had the stuff on.
No, we talking about people who got knowledge of the truth.
Oh, so what is that idolatry?
No, we ain't worried about her. She got to have knowledge of the truth. This is a specific statement for people who had knowledge of the word. You can't accidentally do something like that because that input you need one common theme in all those behaviors. Do you know what that is? What is this common theme that you got to have to commit adultery, to commit fornication, to lie, to steal, to murder, to be spiteful, to be a whoremonger? Say what? No. No, not just desire. You can have a desire and still not do it. You can see 3 holes, and I got a desire to hit all of them, but I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
I guess when I say desire, like,
Sean say plots and plans, flesh. Those are cool. The key word we're looking for, intent.
that's what I meant when I said desire.
Yeah, you got to have intent.
Like, when you say you desire to do his will, like, you can't desire both. I can't say I desire to do his will and desire to hit the hole. Like, when you desire.
I mean, you can have a desire to do his will, and with that flesh, I got a desire to hit these holes, but my desire for his will is greater.
You did the better word, intent.
Yeah, you got to have intent. You got to have intent. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, you not accidentally doing that because they have the intent, as Sean put, you got to plot and plan that out. Once you had the intent, then you got to put the plot together. You know what I'm saying? Now, once you put the plot together or the plan together, now guess what you finna do? Execute. Execute. That's why he say the thoughts of foolishness is sin. And when you look at that, you know what I'm talking about? And get that verse from me, man. I think that's 1 Chronicles 28:9. We see, I ain't say he can't. No, we talking about people who had the knowledge of the truth. I'm talking about buddy who been I've been delivered. He fighting a hard battle. I don't know if he gonna win. I don't know, man. I think that boy still be fooling with dudes. You know what I'm talking about? But that's just me though. I think he got a battle like I don't want it, but I'm weak. We read that the other day though. The sacrifice for sins are weakness. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be no, are you going to hell if you was literally and genuinely like you weren't strong enough in the flesh to overcome that. That's what dude didn't really understand that with Peter. That wasn't no will for sin. That man was weak in the flesh. That man ain't had no faith. They ain't had no spirit. That man ain't know no better. You know what I'm talking about? That man like this here. No, I don't know him. I said I don't know him. You know what I'm talking about? That nigga say he went to curse it. I said, nigga, I don't know him. You know what I'm talking about? Once that cock crew and the Lord looked at him like this here, that nigga like, damn. That nigga went home and cried. That's what it said, didn't it? That man went home and cried. The man tried to tell you, he ain't want to listen. He said that's how most cats get convicted in court. Willful intent. Indeed. You say Thursday night? I'm trying to catch it. Oh, you say you had that talk with your neighbor and he didn't want to hear it. Hey, man, that's not what it is, bro. Come on. 1 Chronicles 28:9. I want to see if thoughts and intents of the hearts in there. I believe it is.
And you, Solomon, my son, know you, the Elohim of your father, and serve him with a perfect heart and with a willing mind. For Yahuwah search all hearts and understand all the imaginations of the thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
If you seek him, he will be found of you. But if you forsake him, he will cast you off forever.
Tell him what imagination of the thoughts is. He know all the plots, plans, and devices you coming up with. That's why it's an abomination to him for a heart that devises wicked imaginations.
Imaginations is your serve, form, a framing, a purpose, framework.
The framework.
Or the mind.
The framework in your mind to go be wicked. You putting that together.
And thoughts is Makashaba,
and that's your plots, plans, and devices. So you framing in your mind how to go be evil. Man, ain't nobody accidentally had sex with nobody in the history of mankind. That's not something you accidentally do. You don't accidentally have homosexual sex. You're not an accidental pedophile. You don't commit accidental bestiality. Nobody accidentally tells a lie. To tell a lie, you had to have the intent to do what, Sylvia? Deceive. Now, see, some people say, are you lying? But if you didn't have the intent to deceive and you misspoke or you spoke incorrectly, that's not a lie. You were just wrong. You know what I'm saying? See, we have to make sure that you understand that you can say something and you not lying, you just wrong. Because you know, a lot of people say that, nigga, you lying. But to lie, you have to have the intent to deceive. Which what we're going to get to with that presumptuous. You see how they go back? You got to have the intent to deceive. Because what's bearing false witness? You can't accidentally bear false witness. Yeah, you have to intentionally lie. You came with the intent to deceive. Man, people be saying some crazy stuff out here, man. People be saying some crazy stuff out here. And what it does is it removes accountability for the person. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't no way to live, man. He said, I heard someone say they tripped and fell into it. I bet he did. Fell into some yeah. Shoes was untied. Same way that dude told me out the road, he accidentally performed fellatio. I said, how do you accidentally do that? You know what an accident is? I was walking and I dropped my cup and spilled the juice on the floor. I accidentally dropped my cup. It wasn't my plan or intent to drop this cup. You know what I'm saying? I got in an accident in the car. You don't accidentally perform coitus. You know what I'm saying? Now, can you perform coitus and you was weak? It wasn't your intent when you got there to do that, but you wasn't as strong as you thought you was, and she got butt naked and you said no. But you went in there anyway. You know what I'm talking about? That, I can give you that. Look here, man, I'm being honest with you. I know a lot of people in life, whether they in the word or not, they done went somewhere around somebody and it wasn't their intent to do that when they got there. Even on their way there. They didn't plot and plan that out. But next thing you know, she went to rubbing on your leg, and now you wake up with shame and regret. Or you be like your homeboy. We have sinned, and then you turn around and do it again.
He would have went along with it. That wasn't his plan.
Yeah, that wasn't his plan. He fell victim to his flesh. It's Johnny here. And I took it. She offered. She kept pressing upon me with it. I said no. I protested solemnly. Those are situations where grace is given. It's understandable. Nigga, you went round there, bro. You brought prophylactics with you, boy. You know what you came over there to do. You told her that before you got there. Dudes always talking about accidental, and it's always you sat on a bus seat with a woman who had her period on. I'd have hit you in the head with that protein bar. Stuff don't make sense, man. That's what a dude told me years ago. He told me, you seeing? I bet you been on the city bus. Did you know that woman had a period when you sat in that seat? I said, are you serious, cuz? I said, man, shoot. Ain't no hope for us. They come up with anything. You heard them dudes in that conversation. They were coming up with anything. Nothing that was plausible in everyday real life. Dude say, so what do you do if you went to the store and you bought some stuff and then they didn't ring it up? I said, well, a just man would just go back and pay for it. Or what if they gave you too much change? A just man would just go back and take the money back. He would make it right. That doesn't make it a sin because they overpaid you. Especially if you didn't know they overpaid you. It would be a sin if you willfully took it. Like, come on, man. That's how you know that these dudes got a false weight and a false balance and that they're not righteous. Because no righteous person would come up with a scenario to be unrighteous. Nobody would do that.
Yeah, now that took a customer, she had paid like $100 over. I said, man, you know you owe me $100 over. She didn't know. She was like, you was just keep it just for being honest. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you put it out.
It's just like, okay, other day, right? I had a couple weeks ago, I went to go cut a yard. But it was already cut. But I'm taking the pictures of it to show him it's cut. I ain't even told him about no bread. He went ahead and sunk the bread. He ain't even mad like this. He was like, damn, did you cut it? I said, no, you ain't give me a chance to even tell you that. He said, well, I say, man, hey, the next job, bro, I just give you a discount. He said, that'll work. You know what I'm saying? I just shoot you a discount. You know what I'm saying? And you get yours on the back end because you ain't give me no chance. You seen the photograph, you ain't text and say nothing because you know you had somebody around there to do something else and they might have done that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just getting around here, let you know, hey nigga, this junk cut, I'm gone. Don't call me about this no more. You know what I'm saying? Cause shoot, nigga, I ain't got no van, nigga. You know how hard it is to get a lawnmower in that car? Figure it out though. It ain't about no powerlifting. Nigga, that car's not made for transport. That car made for speed. You know what I'm saying? That's made for cruising on American streets on a Sunday afternoon, looking for some white women to get into, because that's what they made that for. They didn't make it for you black boys to be around here talking about you skirting in a Hellcat. I don't even want nothing called Hellcat. That's a cat from hell. I want that.
Made the demon right after.
Made the demon right after. Nigga say, what you riding in, the demon? They say, you riding the demon? My God, today. Man, both of them drink your gas. You know what I'm talking about? Gonna be broke driving them old, man. You gonna get all that gas, nigga. I need a truck. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, y'all seen that? I put that in there, man. The boy got a racetrack, man. You could rent exotic cars to ride around the racetrack, man. The people crazy. Around here somewhere. I think I put it in. I can't remember, man. They want like 5 racks, man. You can ride around there in a Ferrari. Ride around there in a Lambo. Go ahead, man. Where was that? Shoot, people are paying for it. Hold on, let me see if y'all seen. I did slide that in there though. Scat Pack in the SRT. Where you stopped at?
No, the SRT is the hell. The Scat Pack is a different pack.
Right, she don't have she got SRT.
Scat your pack. Yeah, he's gonna tell you right now. Where you at?
Psalm 24.
I'm good on that.
Proverbs 8.
Come back to Proverbs 8. 8 and 4, I believe.
We have read 6. I gave you that.
Proverbs 8 and 6.
Say, hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and opening of my lips, right things. For my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness and abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth and righteousness, nothing froward or perverse in them. They're all plain to him that understands.
They're plain to him that what?
Understands.
See, a lot of times, man, the word not plain to people because they don't have understanding. Proverbs 4 and 7 just on the house, man. You can make it 4 and 1. But see, what the word of the king is power, and he's speaking of excellent things. So the wisdom or Mashiach is speaking of the things that pertain to the leader, the ruler, the captain of the people. And that's what you seen the apostles doing in all those places that we were reading when they were contending for the faith. Come on with it.
Hear you children, the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding. For I give you good doctrine, forsake you not my law. For I was my father's son, tender and only in the sight of my mother.
The only beloved, and the only is Yaked. I'm the only begotten son of my mama.
He taught me also and said unto me, let your heart retain my words, keep my commandments and live. Get wisdom, get understanding, forget not. Neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve you. Love her, and she shall keep you.
If you keep wisdom, if you keep Mashiach, he'll keep you alive. That's what he's telling you. Go ahead.
Wisdom, the principal thing. Get wisdom, and with all you're getting,
get under what?
Get understanding.
So that's telling you that wisdom is the first thing, but you need understanding. Most people don't have understanding. And what is understanding? Luke 24 and 44. And if you don't realize that everything we talk about is how grace is poured into his lips, because these were the things that he was telling these people. These were the things that the apostles were telling the people. He said, well, only the saints have the understanding of the word. Yes, sir. That's why they won't be deceived by the beast. Well, yeah, that's what we were talking about Thursday or Wednesday when he say, it's given to you to know these mysteries. That's why that the Isaiah 6, which is mentioned in Matthew 15 and what we read today in Acts 28, is dealing with the people. See, that Matthew 15, that's dealing with Isaiah 29, and that's dealing with the teachers. He said if the people would hear with their ears and see with their eyes and understand what they inward man, they could shoot, they could be turned, and he could rafa them or he could heal them. Well, I forget, or he could give them the aruka, the perfect healing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want that perfect healing. Luke 24 and 44.
And he said unto them, these the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which are written in the law of Moses
and in the Psalms
and the prophets
concerning
me.
And then he opened
their understanding
that they might
understand the scriptures.
That's understanding right there. Most people don't have that. Now they'll fight, fuss, and argue with you about that, and that's okay. But that's what they were contending for in these synagogues, in these schools, and in the temple. Matter of fact, you'll see Paul say, you ain't see me in the temple contending with no man. But before we get to that, give me Acts 18, man. Acts 18 and 18. Acts 18 and 10.
For I am with you, and no man shall set on you to hurt you, for I have much people in this city.
Mm-hmm.
And he continued a year and 6 months, teaching the word of Elohim among them.
Mm-hmm.
And when Gamaliel was the deputy of Achaia, the Yahudim made insurrection with one accord against Paul, and brought him to the judgment seat, saying,
They made a rebellion.
this persuade men to worship Elohim contrary to the law.
Look at what they're doing. Look what they had a problem with. See how they contended? He causing people to worship Elohim contrary to the what?
To the law.
My God, today.
And when Paul was now about to open his mouth, Gamaliel said unto the Yahudim, if it were a matter of wrong or wicked lewdness, O Yahudim, reason would that I should bear with you. But if it be a question of words and
If
names,
it be a question of what?
Of words and names.
If it be a question of what?
Words and names.
And of your
law.
He said, y'all look after that. You
Wow.
see what the Roman told, man, I don't want nothing to do with this here, man. He said, man, if that man ain't around here being nasty, and if he ain't around here being wicked, man, keep that junk away from me. He said, if it's stuff, and you know why I'm focusing on this part? Because it shows you that all these people had different laws, different cultures, a way of doing things, and that they never dealt with these people because they were Israelites. They dealt with people based off their way of life, but they had authority over them. Salute, Dave. They didn't care about none of this stuff. That Roman said, man, I'm not finna be trying this man about no words and names and stuff out of your law. I don't care. Read it again.
But if it be a question of words and names and of your law, look you to it, for I will be no judge of such.
He said, I will not be no judge of such matter. They were trying to get this man Paul killed based off the contention with the word. And he said, I'm not going to help you facilitate this. Go ahead.
And he dragged them out from the judgment seat.
Then the Greeks
took Sosthenes, the chief ruler of the synagogue,
and beat him
before the judgment seat. Gamaliel cared for none of those things.
He ain't want nothing to do with none of this here.
And Paul tarried yet a good while, and then took his leave of the brethren, and sailed thence to Syria with him, Priscilla and Aquila, having shorn his head in Cenchrea, for he had a vow.
Now, if he's shorn his head, you know what he just did. What he just did, Sibby. If this man just cut his head because he had a vow, what did he just do? You know? If you don't know, I got to hit you with this can. I ought to hit you with this can. That man said for a vow. He was a Nazarite. He had a Nazarite vow. Remember, a Nazarite vow is simply saying for a period of time, you're sanctifying yourself to God. Niggas in 2024 make a Nazarite vow mean like it's just this, that, and the third. No, it just means, and it's not a lifelong thing. Niggas make a Nazarite vow because they want to grow their hair out. I'm dead serious, man. Most of these dudes ain't took no Nazarite vow. You know what I'm saying? You ain't vowed and promised to God that you were going to be sanctified to him. It's more than just not eating the fruit of the vine. It's more to it than that. You literally separating yourself to you. You realize that Samuel was a Nazarite from the womb? Do you realize that Samson was a Nazarite from the womb? These are men that their whole life is to Yahuwah for the time period of that vow. Nigga just be wanting to grow locks, bro.
They're saying Paul said.
Know what it say right there?
Okay, I was just making sure. Okay.
Well, Aquila is more specifically, not Paul. Aquila. Because it say Paul tarried yet a good while, then took his leave of the brethren and sailed into Syria with him, Priscilla and Aquila, having shorn head in Centuria, for he had a vow. Well, it probably was Paul.
I think I thought it was Paul because when it said and he came.
Yeah, that was Paul. Verse 19.
And he came to Ephesus and left them there, but he himself entered into the synagogue
And reasoned.
with the Yahudim.
And when they what?
Desired to tarry longer time with them,
He consented,
not
but bade them,
farewell.
I must by all means.
Keep this feast that come in Jerusalem, but I'll return again unto you, if Elohim will. And he sailed from Ephesus.
And when he had landed,
at Caesarea and gone up and saluted the church, and he went down to Antioch.
after that he spent some time.
There he departed and went over the country of Galatia and Phrygia in order, strengthening all the disciples.
And a certain Yahudim named Apollos,
born at Alexandria,
an eloquent man.
mighty in the
He
scriptures,
was mighty in that word. Boy.
came to Ephesus.
This man instructed,
In the way of the Lord,
being fervent,
and the Ruach,
spake and taught diligently,
the things of the Lord,
knowing only.
the baptism of John.
And he began to speak.
boldly in the synagogue.
When Aquila and Priscilla had heard,
they took him unto them and expounded unto him the way of Elohim more perfect.
and when he was disposed to pass into Achaia,
The brethren wrote, exhorting the disciples to receive him.
when he was to come, he helped.
Then much would have believed through grace.
Believe through what?
Through grace.
You see how that goes? That brethren, blessed are you who have believed, for from the beginning you were sanctified by the Spirit and belief in the truth. See, you believe through the favor and acceptance of God because he give you a mind and heart to accept it. Everybody don't get extended that grace, and it is what it is. Come on with it. And he mightily convinced the who?
The Yahudim
Publicly, showing
by the scriptures.
by the what?
By the scriptures.
By his own mind.
By the scriptures.
By his own witness.
By the scriptures.
That what?
Yahushua was Hamashiach.
That's what they were in there contending. Well, let's take one more step. Acts 24. And all this you see, that the stuff that they preaching, how the grace was poured into this man's lips. You understand? 24:1.
And after the 5 days, Ananias the high priest descended with the elders.
Acts 24:1.
And a certain orator named Tertullus, who informed the governor against Paul.
When he was called forth,
Tertullus began to accuse,
saying, see,
by you we enjoy great quietness.
very worthy deeds
are done unto this nation by your providence.
we accept it,
always in all places.
most noble Felix,
with all thankfulness.
notwithstanding,
that I be not further tedious unto you.
I pray you that you would hear us,
of your clemency a few words.
for we have found this man a pestilent fellow.
And a mover of sedition among all the
Paul, he called him a what?
pestilent fellow. And
Tell him what a pestilent fellow is. You know what it is. The sedation is. They saying that he was causing an insurrection or rebellion.
That's the Lord most pestilence, a pestilent fellow, a pest, a plague.
They call this man a pest or a plague to them. Read verse 5 from the top.
For we have found this man a pestilent fellow and a mover of sedition among all the Yahweh
Throughout the world.
and a ringleader.
The what?
A ringleader.
Say a ringleader of the sect.
Of the Nazarene.
So again, they issue with him is that he was preaching Mashiach. This is their issue. Go ahead.
Who also had gone about to profane the temple.
Whom we took.
And would have judged according to our law.
See, that go back to Acts 18, but they ain't want to do that. Listen what he say, but the chief captains.
Lysias came upon us and with great violence took him away out of our hands.
And commanding his accusers
To come unto you by examining of whom yourself
take knowledge of all these things.
whereof we accuse him.
And the Yahudim.
Also assented, saying that these things were so.
Then Paul,
After that, the governor had beckoned unto him to speak, answered.
for as much
I know that you have been of many years a judge unto this nation.
I do more cheerfully,
Answer for myself.
because that you may understand.
Yet there are yet but 12 days since I went up to Jerusalem for the worship.
So Paul, he's saying, but what?
12 days since I went up to Jerusalem for the worship.
And neither found me.
In the temple disputing with any man.
He ain't find me where?
in the temple disputing with any man,
raising up the people,
neither in the synagogues
nor
in the city
neither.
can they prove the things where they now accuse me.
But this confess I unto you.
That after the way which they call heresy.
Pause. They called preaching Mashiach heresy. They said it was a heretical teaching. It was a false teaching. This is what they were contending for. They were not contending about, I can't even think about the stuff these niggas, Gentile salvation. That boy say 3 heads. Boy, that's crazy. No, I'm just messing with you. You know what I'm saying? The Godhead. No, I'm just messing with you. You know, I just threw that in there. It was unnecessary. I apologize. You know what I'm talking about? Listen, them people weren't debating that. Yeah, they weren't debating multiple wives. You know, they weren't debating that. Come on, read verse 14 again.
But this I confess unto you, that after the way which they call heresy,
so worship I,
the Elohim of my fathers,
believing all things
which are written in the law
and in the law
and in the prophets.
Listen, ain't that what we see in Luke 24? That's why he got to understand it. Continue. And have hope
toward Elohim, which they themselves also allow.
That there should be a what?
Resurrection of the dead.
Both of the just
and unjust.
And I herein do exercise
myself to have always a conscience
void of offense towards who?
Elohim.
And
men.
My God today. These were the things that they were disputing about. I don't even think we need to go back to the Epistle of Jude. I think that the point of what, like I said, well, you could come back to Epistle of Jude 1 and 3, and we could read verse 4. I didn't say that to disparage the people who was having the conversation. I was talking about that because I actually told them that in the beginning of the conversation when she opened the room, that they were contending for the testimony. Of course, nobody want to talk about that because that's not fun. I get it. The things that I mentioned, nobody ever likes to talk about because it's not fun. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't, man. Shoot. Man, I didn't come in the room and put the work down. I ain't got nothing to do with your personal thoughts and feelings.
That's how they want.
You see what I'm saying? Don't come in here telling us what's right. I'm trying to rub some booty tonight.
That's why they want to have a conversation. Can we stop sinning?
Well, no, that was different. I think somebody else sparked that room with that, and then it just spanned over a couple of days. I know my homegirl Nissa, she did that room about can women contend for the faith? Walk around. Because they had that conversation yesterday. And she was telling me certain stuff that dudes were saying to them in regards to the women doing that. I just had told her that if you go back culturally, you know, women contending or correcting men that they didn't have familial ties to. I mean, they weren't correcting men about doctrine anyway. You know what I'm saying? I did give her the example that when David was out of pocket, Abigail corrected him. You know what I'm saying? But this was somebody that she was having an interaction. And I say the women in those times would have been more inclined to more than likely correct a man's behavior who they have a relationship with in some sort versus correcting bad teachings. You know what I'm saying? The women wouldn't have done that in that time. That's just not the way that they lived. You know what I'm saying? And we can't take into account and try to take how we live and then try to find verses to fit things to go along with women who didn't live like that. They didn't think like we think. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do that. Hell, the whole world don't do that now. Because if we was to go into other countries, it's not too many women in those other countries that want to have a scriptural battle with a dude. Shoot, or anybody for that matter. You know, they're concerned with other things. You know what I'm talking about? But of course, I get it. We live in the West. It's a different mindset. I get it. I understand it. You know what I'm saying? I just was trying to give full context. Like, yeah, they were never concerned with checking people about teachings. They were more concerned with, nigga, you evil as hell. And also, for full disclosure, when you look at teachings and doctrines and disputings, that stuff was done by the priests and the scribes. That's who did those things. That it's not like how it is now where the general populace participated in that. When you go look historically in the Commonwealth of Yasharal, that was only those in authority and power who did that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the people in general. She said, Mama Rona say they were too busy fetching water to have to do all that. But I mean, look at all jokes aside, man, them godly women back then, man, they were too busy planting vineyards, sewing clothes, tending to the pole, giving words of wisdom and kind. See, this is the part of the game that I don't really be liking, that I see in modern day women who in the word, they more concerned about fighting about doctrine instead of actually giving some wisdom and speaking words of kindness and encouragement to people, irregardless of gender. Because that's what we were talking about the other day. That's what your great grandma them and all them, that's why they was held in such regard. Do you know what I'm talking about? See, I told y'all to say, it's never the fact that women don't have nothing to say or not capable of elucidating any wisdom. It's that most of these younger women, anyway, they just want to talk for the sake of talking, and you're not getting anything out of their conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody know if grandma said something, niggas listen. If great grandma said something, niggas listen. If your auntie said something, if your mom, because you perceived that there was wisdom in their hearts and in their tongue, it was something that you were going to get out of having that conversation with them. Not just, I want to be heard. Hell, because we got a bunch of dudes who want to be heard. Them niggas ain't saying a goddamn thing. And I think that's the difference in the society that we live in now, is everybody wants to be heard, but ain't nobody giving anything of substance that the person can take with them in the course of the conversation. Because it said in Proverbs 31 that virtuous woman, it was wisdom on her lips. Do you know what I'm saying? So also we know, what did Anna the prophetess do in Luke? What did she do? Well, get it for him, man. You moving slow on the draw. He ain't know. Ain't nobody knowing. At Luke 2:44. Say true, there's an argument about proper instruction and there's sowing fruits of the spirit to people who absolutely. Because most of us know, man, and ain't got to be about no word, man. You supposed to be able to go get life lessons from grandma. Life lessons from your mama. In a multitude of things, man. Most of these young girls too busy out here trying to be free. They can't get nobody no wisdom, man. They don't know nothing. Man, you can sit down. I ain't even talking about on no domestic skills, man. I'm talking about life, man. You know what I'm saying? Grandma can tell you, nah, baby, that's not what you do. That's not how you do it. This is woo, woo, woo. You know how to move. You get some understanding. You get some insight in life. Man, you can't get no insight from no woman who a grandma at 38. She still thinks she a hot girl, man. She won't be in the street. You know, Scarface had a song like that back in the day. You know what he said on the scene? He said, what happened to the women like mama who could feed the family out love and $10? You know what I'm talking about? See, niggas be focused on, I ain't finna take care of the salon, Sister Kelly. No nigga for $10. You know what I'm saying? But they missing the point. The women who were nurturing, caring, and comforting and concerned, and that they could give, again, lessons in life. Ain't got too many niggas walking around here talking about, yeah, my grandma told me this if she would live long enough. Man, you know how shameful it would be if you had your great grandma and grandma and you ain't got no level of wisdom that you can say that you learned from them, man. Much less your granddaddy and your great granddaddy if they was alive. Hell, your mama or your daddy. That's just wasted life. Why are y'all even here? We ain't used to be like that, man. Unfortunately, that's where we at now. Because I know a lot of people be like, dudes don't want to listen to women. I think a lot of dudes just don't want to listen because the women in their life probably were stupid. They don't respect their mama. So I'm telling you, man, you get a young dude and he don't got respect for his mama, he's gonna have a very hard time having respect for other women. If he perceived his mama wasn't a very wise and understanding woman, then he not gonna see the value of that versus somebody who did. You know what I'm saying? If your mom and auntie and your grandma and the women in your family, these were wise women, they were understanding women, they gave you proper instruction, they could tell you, nah, baby, that's not what you do. They could give you insight in life in a multitude of different ways. You are going to be more inclined to receive that from a woman than a dude who didn't. Because he ain't got no basis, a foundation in that to appreciate it. Go ahead, man.
But they, supposing him to have been in the company one a day's journey, and they sought him among kinsfolk and acquaintance.
What you reading from?
Luke 2 and 44.
Luke 2 and 44.
When they
It
found
might be
him,
34. Yeah, it's 34. My bad.
and Simeon baruched them and said unto Mary his mother, Behold, this is set for the fall and rising again of many in Yasharal, for a sign which shall be spoken again.
That still don't sound right. Keep on going.
Yea, a sword shall pierce through your own soul also, that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed. And there was one Anna, a prophetess.
She was what?
A prophetess.
What'd she do?
The daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher.
Mm-hmm.
She was of great age and had lived with her husband 7 years from her virginity. She was a widow of about 4 years, which departed not from the temple, but served Elohim with fastings and prayers night and day.
She served God with fasting and prayer every day. And what was she doing?
And she, coming in that instance, gave thanks likewise unto the Lord, and spake of him to all them that look for redemption in Jerusalem.
So she was speaking or bearing witness to this man's redemption to anybody who would listen. That doesn't mean that she was going around preaching, teaching nobody, but that means that doesn't mean that she's restrained from bearing witness to the redemption of God that would come. Read it again.
And she, coming in that instance, gave thanks likewise unto the Lord, and spake of him to all them that look for redemption in Jerusalem.
You know, a lot of people don't shoot. A lot of men don't do that. Speak of this man's redemption, because that's not what nobody's concerned about. I think what more people are concerned about is the ability to do what it is that they want to do versus actually being a servant and facilitating need to what's best for the people. See, more people more focus on what's best for them to do what they want to do versus how can I be of service and benefit to someone else. Because even what you seen, what Mary just said in Luke 2 and 34, that this man, she was prophesying. But people going to overlook that. But that's because people don't know what a prophet is and don't know what a prophet does. You know what I'm saying? But I just want you to see that she went around and spake of his redemption. Would you stop a woman if she's saying, boy, the redemption of Yahuwah is coming? Now, she was a prophetess, obviously, but nevertheless, you don't stop no woman if she wants to esteem of Yahuwah and speak of the greatness of Yahuwah. You going to stop her? But that's not what in this generation, I'm just saying what I've observed. You don't see nobody doing that. It's they want to do what they see the men over there doing. Why would you want to do what them niggas doing? Them niggas stupid. He said, how do we know Moses' sister was a prophetess? I think because, if I'm not mistaken, don't it say that it bears witness that she won. I'm trying to remember if it's Exodus 15 or Exodus 12.
Numbers 12, pretty much the same.
Yeah, Numbers 12. Yeah, she was a prophet. But give me, let me look and see.
I think she had a song too, right?
She did have a song. And anybody who you see singing a song is a prophet. That's one of the ways how you know Deborah was a prophet. Oh, she prophesied. So now I tell you that along with Moses and Aaron, he brought the children of Israel out, but her function was to prophesy. And Aaron's function was the high priest, and Moses' function was the lawgiver. All had a job right there in verse 20 of Exodus 15. And Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. And Miriam answered them, sing ye to Yahuwah, for you have triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider he have thrown into the sea. So at least from what we can read in Exodus 15, she prophesied. She led the women out to dance and to sing unto Yahuwah in the midst of her prophesying. Like I said, man, everybody had a job to do, and nobody's job is necessarily more important than somebody else's. They may have a different function and a different level of authority, but all the jobs are equally as important. You know what I'm saying? Like that woman singing and leading the women in the dances and prophesying is just as important as the high priest work that Aaron was doing. And it's just as important as the lawgiver work that Moses was doing. You know why? Because all of it leads to the facilitation of the esteem of Yahuwah and the service to the saints. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what everybody get caught up in. Everybody want to be the teacher. That lets me know everybody don't want to serve the saints. We already had that conversation. People read, oh, My co-laborers. They'll read that verse when they say, and look at because she's a co-laborer don't mean that she was preaching, because Miriam was a co-laborer, but she wasn't doing what Moses was doing. Aaron was a co-laborer, but he wasn't doing what Moses was doing. Yahushua son of Nun was a co-laborer, but he wasn't doing what Moses was doing. All of them work together, though. It's like when we get to the word, niggas forget that there's different jobs that do different things for the same company. The person who's feeding the people is no less important than the person who's teaching them. But you know what the only thing anybody want to do? Be the teacher. But see what? Guess what? The teacher shouldn't be the one trying to feed tables and do this and do that. He need to do what he do. Somebody else can do that. Somebody else can do this. Somebody else can do that. But living in 2024 and modern day America, you know, preachers are celebrities. And when I say celebrities, I don't mean an intent like a TD Jakes type celebrity. They're celebrity in the circles of spirit influence that they have. People worship these men, and then these men use that to exploit the people for monetary gain, vagina, power, and other things of the sort. Hold on, Crystal. So I pray for the day order is established and the vying for authority is over with. Hey, boy, that ain't going to be till the Lord come. I ain't going to tell you no lie. He said, do you believe that the Lord can show you things in a dream? In prayer, I asked for the Lord to show me something that was occurring in my life. I mean, yeah, and I can't tell you if he did or he didn't, but I mean, definitely he can. You know what I'm talking about? He definitely can. Now, him appearing to you in a vision or a dream is how you know that you're a prophet. Him showing you something in a dream is just him showing you something. You know what I'm talking about? There's a difference of him appearing to you and you seeing something. Now, I can't be the one to tell you that Yahuwah showed you anything in a dream. Because you know how some people be like, well, he ain't show you nothing in the dream. I don't know what he showed you because I wasn't in the bed sleep with you in your brain to know what he showed you. And I can't tell you what you did or did not experience. And, you know, let Yahuwah be true. Let man be a lie. It'll show itself after a while. So if you perceive that's Yahuwah and it's done in the way of righteousness to be able to esteem and uplift him, then let Yahuwah be esteemed. Because I you know, everybody be wanting to dissect there. I don't know, man. I wasn't there. You know what I'm talking about? Was you there? I wouldn't sleep with you. I don't know your REM pattern. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, man. Everybody got. Let me show you that verse with co-labor. What that is? Philippians, Ephesians. What that's? I think we talked about this verse a while back. I can't even remember what that verse said. See, that's the one thing I miss about church. I used to sing in the choir. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it, too. I can understand because that's some people's gift. Some people, he done given you the ability to sing unto him and to praise him. You know what I'm saying? And see, I ain't talking about just the singing ability. I'm talking about some people, he give them words for that. You know what I'm talking about? Give them songs, you know what I'm saying, for them to sing. You know what I'm talking about? That's why I said that the other day about people who have a problem with people singing or worshiping to Yahuwah. That's insane to me. That's insane to me. Huh? Look at that boy was in the choir. No, y'all go ahead and make your own choir. Sibby said he'll be lead. He said he'd be lead soprano or baritone. That's the only two I know. I don't know no others. Oh, falsetto. Hey, I've been coming up. I don't know nothing. I'm just making up anything at this point. I only know that song. That's why I said it. Stick to your job. Oh, Mama Sharona said she got a timbre. You found the verse, Emma? What verse is it? Because I don't remember. Here it is, Philippians 4:1. Now, remember when Corey got mad, we were like, you need to sing too. And I was like, no, that's not what I do, cuz. That's not my lane. If that's your lane, but he couldn't even click in his mind that day that I understand it from the word like, hey, bro, everybody don't sing, bro. And I know I can't sing. You know what I'm talking about? That's not me. But if that's what you do, you see them too. I kept trying him like that to see if he was for real. Go ahead and write one. Nobody don't want to hear you sing Psalms 18, cuz. Go and write us one. He did, though. I ain't going to take that from him. I ain't going to take that from him. But I told him that when he wrote it.
That's how you really want to write.
He really wrote it. And he ain't tell nobody. Ain't nobody tell him to write it. He was doing that on his own. Sean talking about I hit the 10 or something all right. That boy said he Gerald Levert, nigga. The boy come in. He said, "Hey man, I ain't much on Casanova, cause me and Romeo ain't never been friends." You know what I'm talking about? You can see how much I really love you. Yeah, he picked the wrong nigga. Shoot, he wasn't gonna be singing with nobody. Shoot, I would if you would have called that singing, then that'd have been a lie before heaven. Philippians 4:1. What's up, Lil Dwight? Don't you put your mouth on my head, boy.
Therefore, my brethren, dearly beloved and longed for, my joy and crown, so steadfast in the Lord, dearly beloved. I beseech you, Gaius, and beseech Syntyche, that they be of the same mind in the Lord.
Tell him who them two people is, man. Yeah, he would have lied to the Lord if he'd have called that singing. That would have been annoying. It wouldn't have been good though. You would have thought
that means fragrant. A Christian woman at Philippi.
So listen, this is a woman, a specific woman who was at Philippi. You know, let me tell y'all something before we proceed. Read me Luke 8:1 real quick. Choir rehearsal in 2025. You heard it. Emma Sharona said she gonna see y'all at choir rehearsal. Lord willing. Look at that's fine. That's fine. I be ready to sing. That nigga be singing in the shower. The boy them talking about the cats be howling in the neighborhood. Oh Lord. Read me Luke 8:1. He said the stories you tell.
And it came to pass afterward that he went throughout every city and village, preaching and showing the glad tidings of the Malkuth of Elohim.
Listen.
And the 12 with him. And certain women which have been healed of evil ruachs and infirmities, Mary called Magdalene, out of whom went 7 devils.
They ministered what?
And Joanna, the wife of Cusa, Herod's steward, and Susanna, and many others which ministered unto him of their substance.
Listen, I don't have people tell me that mean they were teaching. When it literally said that because people take that word ministered and they just automatically apply it to teaching when it's literally dealing with ministering or serving of the things that they had. And you know why I mention that, why I focus on that? Because I'm not even focusing on that, on the aspect of women teaching or not. I'm focusing on the aspect of the lack of desire of service. And the people think that the only service in the body of Mashiach is teaching. This is the only thing that anybody can think about. Nobody thinks that you can be a servant and carrying your brother's burden. Nobody thinks that they can be a servant to the poor. Nobody thinks that they can be a servant to anybody, because we already know the Shumanite woman. She ministered to who of her substance? Elisha. The woman from Tyre and Zidon, guess what she did? She ministered to her substance to who? Elijah. Do you have many instances of women doing this? Doing this because their ministering or their serving to the servants of God was just as important as the work that the servant of God was doing. Just as important. You know why? Look here, man. If this man don't have, absolutely kingdoms and governments have servants. But people look at servants in a negative fashion because these niggas don't have the heart to serve, because their pride won't allow them to do so. You know what I'm saying? It's arrogance, honestly. And Emma put on there what that word is: part of speech, noun, neuter, short definitions, good, which one has, which one possesses. Goods, the one things that one possess. Substance, the things which one possess, substance that you have. Like, you understand what great standing in heaven those women gonna have for what they did? Now just imagine, and we can run this stuff down, man. But Eodius, right? This is a woman. She got a memorial. And this man felt the need to put this in this letter to mention this woman. And then, of course, you have Syntyche. which is another, and we talked about this before when we went through all the godly women who were mentioned in this book. See, I don't know if other people do that, but we've done that before. We came in here and went through and looked at every godly woman mentioned in this book. Every one. Every single solitary one. Because the women need to know that, because I know dudes don't talk about it. You know what I'm talking about? Go ahead. He said, and I entreat you also.
True yoke fellow.
Pause. He called these women a yoke fellow. So what is it to be a yoke fellow? I got to see. It's zugos. Yoked together, one united, the bond of marriage, relationship, office, labor, study, business, or the like. A consort, a comrade, a colleague, a partner. So how are they yoke fellows? John 17 and 20. This is how they are yoke fellow. It's not hard. That man told you in Galatians that there's neither bond nor free, Yahudim nor Greek, or male nor female, correct? When he went back, when you go back to the law, he said, and male and female created he them, and he called their name Adam. So is she not his yoke fellow, his partner, his consort in the same business and study? Why? Because she's his helpmeet. Her job is to assist him in his endeavors. So she has the same right to the same things that he get. This is common damn sense. Go ahead, man.
And neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which believe on me through their word, that they all may be one as you, Father, in me, and I in you, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that you have sent me. And the esteem which you gave me, I have given them, that they may be one, even as we are one.
One. Guess what he said to those that believe on the word that the apostles preach? That's men and women, man. Listen, I'm going to read this Philippians 4 and 3. He said, I treat thee also, true yoke fellow, help those women which labored with me in the gospel. See, people here labored, and they'll automatically go to preaching and say to strive at the same time with another, to labor with. But you can see from what they did in Luke 8, were they not laboring with the Lord? They will help facilitating the word. If this man hungry, how he going to get the word? Remember what the Shumanite woman said when she kept seeing Elisha go by? She said, I perceive this is a man of God. He said, let us therefore make a bed for him and set up a candle for him and set some bread out there that when he need rest, he could come lay down. She knew it was necessary that he be strong and rested to go out here and do, and she didn't do this for any other reason, because she wanted to help the servant of God, not because she wanted something in return, not because she thought this or thought that. There was nothing to it other than this man worked for God. I love God. So since I love God, I love him. And because she did that, what did the Lord turn around and do? Blessed her with a baby. Paul let it be known, hey, these women been helping me in what I got going on. You know why it makes sense why Paul had all these women around him to help him? Why do you think that makes sense? The same thing with the Lord. Why do you think that makes sense? Think about it, man. What your law say about that? When he seen Adam, what did he say?
I need to help me.
He need to help me. Yahushua and Paul both had one thing in common in the natural, and what was that? They weren't married. Let me tell you also another thing too that a lot of dudes don't like to pay attention to in the text that you see with a lot of men who truly godly men. The women always was there to help them. Ain't never had no problem coming to help them. Had a desire to do it. Now, I'm talking about, but the women fool with these men. And you know why the women fool with these men? Because these men wasn't on what these goofy niggas on. These men wasn't trying to sleep with these women. These men wasn't trying to exploit these women. That's why Paul wrote that to Timothy, man. You got to watch them niggas because they exploit silly women laden with diverse sins. You know what I'm talking about? You don't see Paul trying to get no yams. You don't see the Lord trying to get no yams and get this from this woman. If they trying to help them, then they making sure, hey, man, y'all look out for them. The same way I told you that other day, man, if you got stuff going on in the assembly, in the congregation, man, and them people would have tried to do something to the women, you don't think Paul would have came in there and cussed all them niggas out? Because I know I would. You know what I'm talking about? If I got these women been helping me, and we've been doing XYZ, and you niggas disrespecting them, I take that as you disrespecting me. I'm cussing all you niggas out. You know what I'm talking about? What you got going on? Because this is the first thing you supposed to recognize. That's your sister in the Lord, jackass. She's helping further in the work. What's wrong with you? Leave her alone. She performed a good work on me. You ain't gonna watch them, nigga. Verse 3 though, right? And I entreat you also, true yoke fellow, help those women which labor with me in the gospel, with Clement also, other my fellow laborers whose names are in the book of life. And that's what you have to look at. All them women named in the book of life. You know why they name in the book of life? Because they heard and they believed. And then they assisted these men in the work that they. Let me tell y'all something, man. A lot of people don't realize it because you don't see it, and a lot of these niggas flaw. Do you understand that Paul was going from city to city? Do you understand the level of help he would need to facilitate that type of work? A lot. That's why he said help these women out and whatever they have need in. Help them with that. These niggas don't care because they're evil as hell. Come on back to number 15. Dog face funky bastards. That junk be agitating me, man. But it's more to it than just teaching is not the only thing to do. Do we need to read Romans 12? I think we need to read Romans 12. I think we need to go back over that because we didn't talk about it before. We're going to do it. I got it, Sid. We got Romans 12, right? You got verse 4. Matter of fact, make it 3. Romans 12 and 3. When you actually have an assembly of believers and you're actually able to facilitate things in the proper fashion when it's possible, it's not about just the preacher. The only thing anybody wants to be is the teacher. We'll read 1 Corinthians 12, but niggas don't believe it. I think this is one thing I can say, man. And every position in the Christian church may not be biblically accurate, but the setup of how they had things to people to facilitate specific work, them people not wrong. But see, what you know with a lot of Israelites, they don't want to do nothing but be served of. They don't want to serve nobody. You know what I'm talking about? And that's where the problems come in at. Romans 12 and 3. For I say through the grace given unto me, that every man that is among you not to think more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as Elohim have dealt to every man the measure of faith. You know, every gift of God that a person gets is according to the faith that they possess. The greater the faith, the greater the work. The smaller the faith, the smaller the work. That's how that goes. Say, for we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office. Now, we've talked about this before. It's for the 24 courses. Every Levite priest did not do the same job. If you run across somebody to tell you all the Levites and all the sons of Aaron did the same thing, I would recommend highly that you go study Leviticus and you go study Numbers and you go read 1 Chronicles, I say 23, and you can see that, no, they did not. All Levites didn't do the same thing. All the sons of Aaron did not do the same thing. All Levites were priests, but all Levites didn't teach. Verse 5, Romans 12. So we many are one body in Hamashiach, and every one members one of another, having then gifts differ according to the grace that is given to us. Whether prophecy, notice he say the grace. So this is the favor and acceptance of Yahuwah. So everybody's not a prophet. But he say, you know what? According to the proportion of faith. He say, or ministry. Let us wait on our ministry. Now, or teaching on teach. This is how you know ministering and teaching are not the same thing. There would have been no need to separate the two. Ministry is service. Give them the definition of ministry there, man. And ministering if you want.
Ministry is
No,
service or ministering, especially of those who execute the commands of others.
Especially those who execute the what?
Commands of others.
Especially those who take the direction of others. He said it's service and what else?
Ministering those who by the command of Elohim.
It's literally service. But you take minister from what people say in these days and times, and you think that mean a teacher, and it's literally a servant. Remember how we read that Yahushua son of Nun was Moses is who? Minister. He ministered unto him. Whatever Moses told that man to do, he did it. Because Yahushua son of Nun wasn't teaching nobody. He was an Ephraimite. Who was he teaching? He couldn't teach nobody. Because he wasn't there. That's what a deacon's job is to the pastor. It's his job to do what the pastor tell him to do. You know what I'm talking about? Of course, deacon don't exist, but it comes from that Greek word. But y'all understand what I mean. That's his job. That does not mean to be a teacher. Ministering probably the same word. Is. So then tell him what teach mean, man.
That's to teach, to hold discourse with others in order to instruct them, to deliver didactic discourses, to be a teacher. It is charged off of a teacher.
Now, you know, didactic is to teach, because you ever heard of the word autodidact? You know about that? That was Cud named his album. Long time ago. What time's on it? The Chronicles of an Autodidact. You know what that is? You're a smart person. Man, what have we been teaching you people? Not for real, not for real. Autodidact means you self-learn. You self-taught. Mama Steph, no, yeah, you self-taught. Autodidact is somebody who's self-taught. Yeah. Yeah, Kyle was out here. You already know Mark. You know what I'm talking about? So ministering and teaching is two different things. We would look at if you're getting directed by a man of God to facilitate a particular instruction, why would you look at that as a small thing when the book say literally that's a gift from God? He said that's a gift of God for you to have the opportunity to serve. That's not what it said. Am I making that up? Okay, I didn't want to make sure. Because I gave you a witness, because Yahushua son of Nun was a servant with him. My God today. He said, or he that exhort on exhortation, he that give with simplicity, he that rule with diligence, he that show mercy with cheerfulness. All of these things are gifts that are executed in the body. Because guess what? Every teacher in a congregation don't have rules. You know what I'm talking about? But we talked about this before, but we just rehashing that. It's really coming from the bold-faced lie I heard this nigga say. But all this stuff is still talking about how grace is poured into his lips. Because when you receive the breath of the Ruach HaKodesh, he's going to bestow, that's favor and acceptance, and he's going to give you a gift according to the measure of faith you have. That's not something that I can measure. That's not something that you can measure. That's not something that anybody can measure. This is something that the Lord measures, and he gives to each individual as he sees fit to facilitate what he wants done in his congregation. Not what you want to do, not what you think you should do, but what he wants to do. If he wants you, what did he tell Peter then about John, man, when they was like, what this man gonna do? You remember what he said? What he says then? He said, what is it to you if I tell him what? What did he say? He said, what is it to you if I tell him to do what? Yeah, occupy till I come. He said, what is that to you? He said, go feed my sheep. Meaning, if I told this man to sit here and stay still till I came back, what that got to do with you? That's what I want him to do. You know, some people would fight with the Lord if he told you all I wanted you to do is just sit here and wait on me till I come. But Lord, I want to do this here. I told you to wait on me till I came here. And you know, a lot of people would probably end up going to hell because they would disobey him instead of sitting still. And you know who didn't do that? You know who didn't do that? Saul didn't do it. Saul didn't do it. Yeah, but that's different. That was for the judgment. Remember, Samuel told Saul, stay here till I get back. Don't move. Don't do nothing. Just stay here. And guess what Saul did? Didn't wait. He said, man, we the people were hungry. We had to do this here. But I told you to sit your funky behind still till I got here. Couldn't sit still. Well, he didn't tell them to stand still. Samuel literally told Saul, wait till I get here. Don't make no moves. Basically told him, occupy till I come. And Saul wanted to do what he wanted to do, got cut off. You know what I'm saying? The same way he told that prophet, don't go back the way you came. Don't eat no bread, no drink, no water in this place. It don't matter because somebody told you to do it. That man died where he stood. You know what the man told you to do. I don't care what this man over here told you to do. I'm a prophet too. But what did God tell you to do? You can't get off on what I want to do. Well, I feel like I have so much more to offer. Nobody asked you what you had to offer. If he wanted what you had to offer, then he would have put you in a position to do it. So if he didn't put you in a position to do it, that's not what he has for you to do. And that's okay. Stop thinking your job is not important because it's not doing what you feel like you should be done. If it's being done in the name of Yahuwah, then it's important. You know why it's important? Because you could be out here in the world and don't have no position in this man's body, not doing nothing but waiting for death. Come on, man. Most of us ain't even got that attitude. Because David definitely showed his doo-doo thing, said, I'd rather be a doorkeeper in the house of my God than to dwell in the tents of wickedness. Most of these niggas don't want to be no doorkeeper. Why I gotta be a porter? Why I can't be a priest? Because I ain't asked you to be no priest, nigga. I asked you to be a doorkeeper. But I feel like you need to get out my face. And that's why a lot of people don't get hired by the Lord, because you want to tell him what you gonna do in his organization. This is his organization, not yours. That's nigga stuff. Because you know what niggas do in the organization? What I told you, like a lot of dudes who preach like to do. Oh, I'm going to tell the Lord, I'm going to take the day off. I need to go on vacation. You don't tell this man when you coming to work. He can tell you when you not coming to work because you're going to be dead. And I ain't talking about just dead literally. Just right, just like the sons of Korah, they did the same thing. Y'all take too much on yourself. We are here too. Running your mouth. If the Lord wanted you to do what you were trying to do, he would have put you there. I know that's right, Amun. A lot of people, they just don't like serving, man. A lot of people like to say, well, I got to serve tables and food. Remember what Martha said? Man, tell Mary to help me. What the Lord told her. Martha, you concerned about with many things. He said, but Mary chosen the best part. Guess what? Mary didn't have to serve. In that particular instance, Mary was down there with everybody else getting the word. Martha, go ahead and serve and do what Martha like, hey, I'm tired of this junk. This nigga need to help me. There's a lot of niggas in here. They greedy. I get it. Come on, let's look at that. What that is, Luke 9. Man, I get it, man. But listen, I'm telling you, man. Service is important. It's not to be just negated. It's Luke 10. 10 and 38. Girl, ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Fat baby. I ain't think you could get that high of a pitch. Go find your mom. Come on, Luke 10 and 38.
And now it came to pass as they went that he entered into a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha received him into her house. She had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Yahushua's feet
and heard his
word.
Pause. Mary was going to get her some work. You know what I'm talking about? If she sat at his feet, that means she was there. I'm trying to get a word. Now listen. It's not that many men, much less women, who that focused. You're not going to send no woman who's sitting down at your feet getting some word and tell her, go fix some plates. You know what I'm saying? Most women don't be locked in like that. And notice, I'm going to mention this here. Notice that one of them women who was ministering to the Lord in Luke 8, did you notice her status? What was her status that you noticed that was different from the rest of the women that they made mention to let you know? That she was a wife. You know what I'm talking about? See, now there's a difference, because remember, the Shumanite woman was a what? A wife. I mentioned that because it ain't like how these dudes do now. That's my wife, and she ain't gonna do this for none of these niggas, you wicked bastards. If you was in a community of believers or lived around believers, them women would have helped the man of God no different, because it wouldn't be no thought of nobody climbing on top of his wife. See, these niggas in the Israelite stuff now, these niggas so wicked, they like that because they figure a nigga gonna smash their wife. You know why that? Because they'll smash a nigga wife. Straight up and down. And that's just the reality of it. Most of these dudes are perverts, so they think everybody else a pervert because they ain't no man of God. Because no man of God ain't thinking about your wife. He got work to do. He ain't thinking about what things looking right here. He want to buy, he ain't thinking about none of that. You know what he thinking about? Lord, remember her and her name and what she done towards me, because if she did it towards me, she did it towards you. Remember that on the last day. Count that to a charge to everlasting life. Yeah, that's what he gonna be thinking about. These dudes don't work for Yahuwah because they perverts. Ain't that right, Sidney? You're pervert. That's all these dudes is. They some perverts, man. You know what I'm saying? Come on with it.
But Martha was cumbered about much serving. Came to him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister had left me to serve alone?
She said, hey, you don't care about this?
Bitter therefore that she helped me. Yahushua answered and said unto her, Martha, Martha, you are careful and troubled about many things.
You anxious and troubled about a lot of things, baby.
But one thing is needful, and Mary have chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away.
He said, I ain't finna tell her to come serve you. She gonna keep getting this word. Go ahead, keep doing what you were doing. You know what I'm talking about? That's what he told her. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Matthew 15. I just wanted that part in because, you know, niggas act like women don't be wanting no words. Some women be wanting some word too. I know dudes be saying stuff, women can't do nothing unless they got a husband. I ain't never read that nowhere. I done seen dudes say a woman can't get the Holy Ghost if she ain't got no husband. I said, where that's at? I said, boy, y'all boys will say anything to get some yams, man. That's sad. These boys say anything to get some yams, boy. That's your trick to get a wife. You can't get the spirit without me, baby. Lord have mercy. Well, don't y'all fall for that. I've been telling you that for years. You fall for that. Hey, man, you earn what you deserve if you fall for that. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to say, I've been told that. I know you've been told that. I ain't going to say you specifically because I know niggas say it. Oh, you can't be saved without a husband. You can't get the Holy, you can't get the Ruach HaKodesh without a husband. You can't learn no word without a husband. Then I be wondering, well, what you thought all them women were doing in the temple and synagogues before they got a husband? So they couldn't trust in Yahuwah until they had a husband? Because we definitely read about Anna the prophetess. Her husband died young. Did he not? Sound like she had a lot of spirit on her to me. Kiki say, where they get that from? From their penis. Because that's all they thinking with. That's where they got it from, their penis. Because a dirty dick nigga told them that, and they spread it around, trying to shame women to be with them because they know that under normal circumstances, nobody else would be with them. Dead serious, though. Man, ain't no servant of God finna come tell you no foolishness like that. That's dudes who can't get no wife, and they trying to manipulate you into being with them because you like, you ugly, you musty. Why your clothes look like that? You ain't got a job. I'm a prophet of the Lord. I ain't got time to work. Yeah, that's where that come from. That comes straight from their loins, man. They thinking with their loins. So they come up with doctrines that's according to the lust of their heart and they God, which is their belly, because they mind earthly things. Ain't that right? That's right. What was that? Come on, number 15. We get straight to the point. 15:22. No, that was not. Yeah, that's where that stuff come from. That's pervert. You gotta pay attention to stuff like that. You can't get caught. I've been telling them, well, I don't really have that problem in here physically because everybody in here married. You know what I'm talking about? And almost everybody on this stream, for the most part, that's a lady. They got a husband also. It's only a couple that don't have, don't even think about it. That don't have a husband. So even though everybody married, I still reiterate that quite regularly. Don't fall for that. Don't go for that. Don't listen to these dudes. Any dude who tell you that, you automatically know he don't work for God. Nobody who works for God would tell you your access to him is based on a man being able to penetrate you physically. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't need no husband to get no word. You just need a heart that's ready to receive it. That's all you need. You know what I'm saying? You got all you need is a mind. What he said, you need eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart to understand that you might be converted and be healed. That's the only three things you need. You don't need no husband. You ain't never needed no husband to know Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never needed that. That's crazy talk. Yeah, that's nasty nigga talk. Come on, man.
Saying, if you have erred and not observed all these commandments which Yahuwah have spoken unto Moses, all that Yahuwah have commanded you by the hand of Moses, from the day that Yahuwah commanded, and henceforward from among your generations, then it shall be, if be committed by ignorance without the knowledge of the congregation, that all the congregation shall offer one young bullock for a burnt offering, for a sweet savor unto Yahuwah, with his meat offering and his drink offering, according to the manner, and 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for all the congregation of the children of Yasharal, and it shall be forgiven them, for it is ignorance.
Tell them what ignorance mean by definition. A lot of these dudes perverts.
Shake of God, that is a sin of error or inadvertent sin, error.
Now again, this is, you know what it is to be inadvertent. It's a mistake. You know what I'm saying? That go back to what we were talking about earlier. You ain't sinning by accident. Not with the stuff that these people be sinning with. Listen.
And they shall bring their offering, a sacrifice made by fire unto Yahuwah, and their sin offering before Yahuwah for their ignorance. And it shall be forgiven all the congregation of the children of Yasharal and the stranger that sojourn among them, seeing all the people in ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
If any soul sin through ignorance, then he shall bring a she-goat of the first year for a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for the soul that sinned ignorantly, when he sinned by ignorance before Yahuwah.
Now we get into the main attraction. Go ahead.
Make an atonement for him, and they shall be forgiven him.
You shall have
one law for him that sinned through ignorance, him that is born among the children of Yasharal, and for the stranger that sojourn among them.
But the soul that do
presumptuously
be born in the land,
or a stranger, the same reproach Yahuwah, and that soul shall be cut off from among his people.
Because he have despised
the word of Yahuwah
and have broken
his commandment. That soul shall utterly be cut off, his iniquity upon him.
Now, I want you to give them the English definition of presumptuous. Because I forgot, I think it was some theological type of stuff that he would use to justify
one of them said bold.
Yeah, bold, proud, arrogant. But the Hebrew definition for presumptuously is different. You know what it is, sir? It's Yad Ramah. Now go ahead and give him the definition of Yad Ramah. And now you can see why he said if the soul sinned presumptuously, that he will be killed. Because he's despised the word of Yahuwah. Yad Shema is what you're going to see.
This one will say Yad.
No, Shema is right up on it. Arrow pointing to it.
The second part is Ramah, that's to cast, to shoot, to hurl.
You ain't read the entire definition?
That's to throw, that's to beguile, to deceive, to
deceive,
to deal treacherously.
To deal treacherously or to lie. It's the hand of deceit. It's the hand of deceit. When you turn around and you look at it, clearly grace ain't poured in your lips if you telling lies. But this is what somebody tried to use on a gentleman, say he sinned against his pastor because he committed the sin of presumptuousness. Because he said he was proud and arrogant for checking him. But that's not what this verse means. This verse means the hand of lies. You've been strengthening yourself in deceit and treachery. Now, why is that important? Give me Hebrews chapter 6, verse 14. Matter of fact, 12. I could mention Numbers 23 and 19, but I want to take a different approach.
Say that you be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises.
Mm-hmm.
For when Elohim made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself, saying, surely blessing I will baruch you, and multiplying I will multiply you. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. For men truly swear by the greater, and an oath for confirmation to them an end of all strife.
Listen.
Wherein Elohim willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise
the immutability
of his counsel, confirmed by an oath,
Because it's what?
By two immutable things.
What's those two things?
In which it was impossible for Elohim to lie.
It is impossible for Elohim to do what?
To lie.
To do what?
To lie.
So that's why you're going to have a problem if you commit a sin through treachery or deceit. So now when we look in the Gospels, what did they do to Mashiach? Well, let's take a look. Matthew 26 and verse 59.
Now the chief priests and elders and all the council sought false witness against
They
Yahushua.
sought who?
False witness against Yahushua to put him to death, but found none. Yea, though many false witnesses came, found they none. At the last came two false witnesses and said, this said, I am able to destroy the temple of Elohim and to build it in 3 days.
Pause. Now go to Proverbs 6 and 16 and let's look at the conundrum that we're faced with based off of their actions.
These 6 do Yahuwah hate, yea, 7 an abomination unto him, a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood.
A lying tongue, what else?
A heart that devised wicked imagination.
And what else?
Feet that be swift running to mischief.
And what else?
A false witness that speak lies.
A false what?
Witness that speak lies.
You know why this number 15 that we looking at is so important? Notice he say for this presumptuous sin, guess it what that for? And that number 15, guess what wasn't there for that sin of presumptuousness? Go back and look at it, y'all. And look at it in contrast to what we read before that, starting at verse 22, to when you get to verse 30, and look at the contrast of what can you identify what is not there.
You say, but the soul that...
Bro, I read it out loud. That boy, he read it. He done took a week off because you gave him cooties. You the one gave it to him. So where he got the cooties from, Doris?
No sacrifice.
There it is. Ain't no what there?
No sacrifice.
Ain't no sacrifice for sins of presumptuousness. But he said it was sacrifice for sins of ignorance. Now, why would you think it wouldn't be no sacrifice for sins of presumptuousness? Because you committed them by deceit. And if you committed them by deceit, then guess what you were actually doing? This was your intent to perform this act. This was willful. This was willful. This wasn't a moment of weakness. This wasn't you didn't know. You knew exactly what you were doing. So when we look at Matthew and you see what the apostles, what the chief apostle, I should say, what happened to him, what was the basis of it? It was willful deceit. They literally took this man to Pilate and lied. And why did they lie? John 18 and 20. That's you, Jamal.
It's just safe to say, like, you can see how Yahushua, when he was on the stage, said, Father, forgive them because they did it in ignorance.
He did it in ignorance.
But Judas, he didn't say that prayer for him because he knew.
He knew what he was doing.
Because he got insight.
And he wasn't saying it for the scribes when they was like, let his blood be on our children's children. Because you devised this by deceit. You knew what you were doing. You cut off. Ain't no sacrifice for you. And I'm more so talking about the ones who were there with Caiaphas when he said in John 11 that you know not nothing at all. It's expedient. See, the only pass that the scribes would be able to get, because they pronounced judgment against their own head like David did. Let his blood be on our children's children. It's the fact that they were ignorant, that they didn't know that according to the text, that's what they were doing. That's what a lot of brothers, that's why when we were talking about that with them dudes, and I'm like, most of y'all can't commit a willful sin because you ain't never receive the knowledge of the truth to even be accountable to be classified as a willful sin. You know what I'm saying? Man, you still ignorant, cuz this like I don't think they really understood when we were talking about like who this actually pertains to. This is not a blanketed statement that pertains to everybody. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't heard the gospel of Yahushua, then how are we going to hold you accountable to this? That means you can still commit a sin because you don't know the Son of God. You know what I'm saying? Case in point. What did Paul say? He said, I did these things what? Ignorantly. He was persecuting these people. This man technically committed murder, man. Do you know what I'm talking about? But he didn't know. He didn't know this man was the Son of God as it is written. You know what I'm talking about? This is why the pattern of forgiveness could be laid out for him. You notice what he said in 1 Corinthians 9, I keep my body under subjection, lest I be a castaway, because now I know. He revealed, I mentioned all these things. What's the first thing I mentioned? 2 Timothy. Is it 2 Timothy? 2 Timothy chapter 3. Is it? Let me make sure. Let me make sure, y'all. Let me get it together. First Timothy chapter 1. Don Joanne, 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 12.
And I thank Hamashiach Yahushua, our Lord, who have enabled me, for that he counted me faithful, putting me into the ministry.
Who was before
a blasphemer
and a
persecutor
and
injurers,
but
I obtained mercy
because I
did ignorantly.
in what? See, if you in unbelief, you don't know. And you could get a pass from God. He wink at your ignorance. Ain't that what he said? He wink at that. But he called men everywhere to what? That's right. And the grace of our Lord
was exceeding abundant with faith and love, which is in Hamashiach.
Now, we haven't done this in a long time. But this example of Paul saying that he was blaspheming, he was injurious, is an example of what the city of refuge represents. That you committed a sin not out of ill intent, not out of malice. You know what I'm talking about? And you had a place to go dwell in that the revenger of blood cannot touch you, because when you commit sin, it's as if you shed Hamashiach's blood, and whosoever sheds man's blood, by man must his blood be shed. That's why he said, when I come, I'm going to meet you as a man. But nevertheless, this is an example of the acceptance and favor of grace because you didn't know. That's why there's a sacrifice for you. Now, I mentioned 1 Corinthians chapter 9. Pick me up at about verse 20. Hold on, I'm sorry. We didn't read verse 15. I already finished verse 15 of 1 Timothy chapter 1. I'm sorry, y'all. This is a faithful saying and worthy of all exception, that Hamashiach Yahushua came in the world to save sinners, of whom I am chief. Howbeit for this cause I obtained mercy, that in me first Yahushua HaMashiach might show forth all long suffering for a pattern to them which should after believe on him to life everlasting. You see, he just telling you that he set a pattern to where this man withhold his wrath. That because this wrath was withheld, which goes back to Exodus 34:6, which is who he is, Yahuwah Elohim, merciful, gracious, abundant in goodness and truth, long-suffering, merciful unto thousands, forgiving sin, iniquity, and transgression. This is who Yahuwah is. This is example of his grace. There was nothing that Paul did to get the favor and acceptance of the offering of forgiveness. It's just the goodness and greatness of your Elohim. That's why he is worthy of your reverence. This is why they were contending for the faith, because people don't realize when you're preaching Yahushua HaMashiach, grace is poured into your lips. Most of these dudes don't have grace poured into their lips. That's why they don't have no power, because where the word of the king is power, and that's why they don't have any wisdom, because they're not speaking of excellent things. Therefore, the people stay in a distressed state. They can never be delivered. But nobody cares. Because, you know, that's not provocative. It don't get the people going. 1 Corinthians 9:20.
And unto the Yahudim I became as a Yahudim, that I might gain the Yahudim. To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law. To them that are without law, as without law, being not without law to Elohim, but under the law to Hamashiach, that I might gain them that are
See,
without
Paul,
law.
this is where people come in and say the law of Christ, and they think that's different. Because he said he wasn't, these people weren't without the law of God. Now what? That's a whole nother conversation. We'll touch that on Wednesday.
So the Lord became I as weak, that I might gain the weak. I have made all things to all, that I might by all means save some.
Listen.
And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you.
Listen.
Know you not that they which run in a race run all, but one receive the prize?
Listen.
So run that you may obtain. And every man that strive for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now
He said, if you strive for the mastery, you got self-control in everything.
And they do it to obtain a corruptible crown.
He said, but us?
And incorruptible.
Listen.
I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I.
He said, I don't run as what?
Uncertain.
That means we ain't got no faith that we don't know what we doing and why we doing it.
So fight I, not as one that beat the air, but I keep under my body and bring unto subjection.
He said, I keep my body under and bring it into what?
Subjection.
That unless.
By any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway.
See, that man know what's in Ezekiel 33. If a righteous man commits sin and trust to his righteousness and his iniquity, he shall die. Because he don't receive knowledge of the truth. Ain't no more sacrifice for sins for him. Why would he say he would be a castaway, but they tell you Romans 7, he telling you he's struggling with sin? That's not what that man telling you, man. Give me Acts 22, verse 9.
And they that were with me saw indeed the light and were afraid, but they heard not the voice of him that spake to me. And I said, what shall I do, Lord? And the Lord said unto me, arise and go into Damascus. There it shall be told you of all things which are appointed for you to do.
Go ahead.
When I could not see for the esteem of that light, being led by the hand of them that were with me, I came into Damascus. And one Ananias, a devout man, according to the law, having a good report of all the Yahudim which dwelt there, came unto me and stood and said unto me, Brother Saul, receive your sight. In the same hour I looked up upon him. And he said, the Elohim of our fathers have chosen you.
To do what?
That you should know his will and see the just
Paul,
one.
that you should know his what?
Know his will.
And to see the who?
The just one. And should hear the voice of his mouth. For you shall be his witness unto all men of what you have seen and heard.
If you know heard the words of his mouth, you seen the just one, and you know his will, wouldn't that be you receive the knowledge of the truth? Now, what sacrifice going to be for him? He know better. So again, that Hebrews 10 and 26 is not a sweeping indictment for everybody. That's why he said there remain no more sacrifice for sins, for willful sin after receiving the knowledge of Hamashiach. And most people have never heard that. So they don't even understand the level of grace that's been extended. But we're going to stop right there for now, because if I go into Jeremiah 31, it'll take a whole nother hour. At least we got one up. So hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. I appreciate y'all. I bless y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to see you niggas for 3 days. I've been here 12 days straight. I ain't finna see you niggas for 3 days. Yeah, don't call me, nigga. No, we were talking about that yesterday. They get them in. Now, because usually, usually, they don't fall on the regular scheduled days. You know what I'm saying? It's usually a breakup, so it was just straight through. Yes, sir, Zoe. I appreciate it. So, prayerfully, y'all understood all these things. Y'all willing, we'll be back at it Wednesday around the same track. It didn't go entirely what I had in my mind we were going to do, but it worked out well, and the point was still made. So, again, I bless y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Shalom, Sister Regina. Yes, ma'am. And you who are willing, man, I'll catch y'all Wednesday. Peace and cake. Praise Yahuwah. Praise Yahuwah, Brother Ernest, man. Praise Yahuwah, Brother Marvin, man. Y'all willing, man. We'll be back at it on Wednesday. What's up, cuz?
So the timeline in the Bible, so they
You don't say